There we go. That's what Daddy likey. Keep them.
Please stop. Stop calling yourself Daddy.
You remember one thing from today, it's this. The mind is the only weapon that doesn't need a holster.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. Your results may vary. Here are your hosts, Mike and Darin.
Hi, I'm Darin.
I'm Mike.
Welcome to Irritable Dad Syndrome. This is a very special episode of Irritable Dad Syndrome.
We've got people over.
We have guests. Yeah, we cleaned the house. We put everything into the guest room. We are very excited because, and I'm going to, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys are Cincinnati radio legends. Chris and Janeen from WGRR, Married with Microphones.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Legends in our own mind.
Marconi Award winners, Chris and
That's
Janeen.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
I should have brought it in here. Hold it up.
I'm going to screw that
You
up.
can
and
go
call it
get it,
Macaroni
maybe
Award.
later.
I know it will.
yeah, Mike's going to call it the Macaroni Award.
Yeah, I don't know.
There you
anything.
go.
Is that Macaroni?
That's a monkey.
That's
okay.
not. Okay.
that's not it. Well,
So-
you know that bribe worked.
Yeah.
I bribed the committee and it worked.
So it's
we're
all
not-
political. You bought that award.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
All the
Now
fr-
it can be told.
All the free Arby's they can eat.
So we're not used to having decent people over. So
No, we're not.
We'll
try-
let ourselves out.
We try to behave ourselves as much as possible.
We do the best we can. We try really hard.
And we try to keep this as family friendly as we can.
We do.
Well,
whack
then
and-
we're done
Good night,
then.
Janine.
Thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Hey,
Good night, everybody.
before we get any further, I wanted to mention something. A guest that we had on the show a couple of months ago, Mr. Shadow Stevens, was recently inducted into the Radio Hall of Fame.
That's awesome.
Coming in at number 5, the name of a fictional heavy metal band from Ohio. Up 12 slots from last week, here's Venomous Beaver.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, do you guys know Shadow? I mean, that's silly. You may have met or spoke with him at a radio thing years ago or something.
Yeah, years ago, I know of him, of course, with
Yeah.
all the announcing he's done on TV and everything.
Exactly. Now, who do you guys know who are in the Radio Hall of Fame?
Casey Kasem.
Okay.
But not right now.
Not right now.
Not the way Casey
He's
is
in
right
the Netherlands somewhere.
Yes.
Casey's not returning your phone call.
No.
Casey's counting them down.
Yeah.
Rick Dees.
Uh-huh.
He was so cute back in the day.
Well, yeah,
So cute.
back in the Disco Duck era.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
certainly was.
Yes.
But no,
Do we
it's
have anybody else?
I don't know. I can't think offhand.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The Grease Man. Remember the Grease Man?
Yeah, I met him before. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know the
I-
Grease Man.
Oh.
Now I know, Chris, you have posted pictures several times of you with the Wolfman Jack.
Wolfman. Yeah. The
Oh,
old
yeah.
Wolfman.
I assume he's in the Radio Hall of Fame. If not, he should
Oh,
be.
Yeah,
Of
yeah.
course.
That's right. Yeah, he
Okay.
is. Now that you mention it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he did years ago in the mid-'70s when I was on Q102. He was into, I think it was about 1976. And he did part of my show with me then. And
Oh.
it was kind of weird because he loved the song Taking Care of Business. And he goes, "You got a phone book around here?" So we got him a phone book, and he keeps time with the music by beating on the phone book there. I was taking care of business. Yeah. Okay, Wolf. That's cool. But no, he was a great guy. That was certainly a highlight, having the Wolfman on.
So you guys are Married with Microphones. How long have you been married, and how long have you worked together? Because you worked together before you got married, correct?
Well, we worked at the same station. We worked at Q102. We met actually in '79.
Mm-hmm. Luckiest year of your life.
I keep telling myself that. And we got married in '85. So yeah, we've been married how long? 38 years.
38 years.
Zip by like a century.
Yeah.
And and we were doing the morning show together 28 years.
Uh-huh.
So, and I've been at GRR since '91. She came over in '95. So
I had to come over and rescue him like a mercenary.
that's right. I
Okay.
was thinking so.
Well, I don't know if you remember, but a couple years ago we had the thing, the pandemic, the COVID.
Right.
Yeah.
The code,
And I used to work at Channel 5 WLWT, and they sent me home to do my commercials from home, and they
Mhm.
sent Libby home. My wife, she works at Children's Hospital. And the very first day we're working together, I'm in the dining room and she's in the living room. And it's about 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes into it, she says, "You know, Darin, you talk to yourself a lot." And I'm like, here we go.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even a half hour before Darin's got to change his ways.
Yeah.
But I was just like, how? I mean, and I know you guys have probably talked about this before, but how do you work together and live together without driving each other absolutely crazy? It's got to be a very special relationship.
Yeah, well, we do, separate things. Like he watches his shows downstairs in his diamond seat, in his reclining diamond seat. I'm relegated upstairs to the uncomfortable chair in the bedroom to watch my shows. Yeah.
No, but we, having worked at the same station, not, together on the air at the same time, but different shifts, that kind of paved the way. And then just working together, the nice thing about it through the years has been you can bounce an idea off of each other at home without having to get on the phone to another member of the morning show or whatever and talk it over and all that stuff. Just make notes and, work it from there. So it's just something we've honed in all through the years and have made it work.
Well, we have our roles too. Like Chris is the boss at work and I'm the boss at home.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued by the idea of the different shows because my wife and I do the same thing. And one of our earliest show memories was The Sopranos. So when we got together, I was a huge fan of The Sopranos, and she saw no merit at all in watching The Sopranos. I don't want to watch The Sopranos or whatever. So when they would come on, when that show would come on, she would go upstairs to read or whatever until one night, I think it was like the third or fourth week of this, she stopped right in the middle of the living room and started watching The Sopranos.
And then she probably had a bunch of questions.
Well, I couldn't see anything because she was just standing there in front of it. I'm like, are you watching? Are we watching this? And then it was like, boom. Then we watched all of them all the way through. The same thing happened with Game of Thrones. She was going to watch the first episode with me because I had read the book. It's all I talked about. I wanted to see the show, everything. Yeah. She fell asleep during the first episode.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you're Game of Thrones fans.
He watched it. I watched that.
That's the thing. I watch those kind of shows, but she sticks to
that show's hard to keep up with even when you're awake.
The first episode ends with a pretty intense, spoilers for however long it's been, but a kid gets shoved out of a window.
Totally out the window.
I thought she was asleep. She jumps up. Oh my God, play the next episode. And after I recovered from my heart attack, we watched the next episode. But yeah.
Oh, man.
The thing about Game of Thrones is you can't see it.
What?
When you're old, you're like,
it's too dark for you.
Yeah.
Turn the lights on. You can't see anything on that show.
If they only showed the characters that were in the scene and talking at any given point, it would be one thing. Yeah. It becomes a mature show because they put all the crazy stuff is happening in the background. They'll have two characters talking about, bowling or whatever they're going to do. And then somebody's being decapitated way off in the background. Why?
Well, my thing with Game of Thrones is that it wasn't realistic at all. They had married couples on the show that did not act like married couples. Like if my wife and I were on Game of Thrones, she'd come home and start complaining. She's like, I'm walking up the castle and I notice all these arrows on the lawn. Are you going to pick up the arrows? I'm not picking up the arrows. Your friends come over, they're shooting arrows at each other. They're pouring tar down the side of the castle. Who's going to clean that up? I'm not going to clean that up. And now the moat doesn't work. God, it's like...
Well, now Chris and I did watch one show together. Like he watches that. What is that? Walking Dead. He watches Walking Dead
and the Last of Us.
Oh, we're big
the
Last of Us.
Yeah, I'm huge.
Yeah.
Last of Us.
Have you watched 1883 or 1923?
Yes,
that's him.
The Yellowstone stuff.
Both of
them.
Harrison.
Did you watch Bridgerton?
I watched season 1 of Bridgerton.
Okay.
Libby wanted to watch that, and I thought, well, she watches The Walking Dead with me, so I'm going to take one for the team and watch Bridgerton, and I'll be damned if I didn't get into Bridgerton.
Isn't it good?
Yeah.
And Chris and I watched Men in Kilts together.
Okay. I haven't seen. Is that a reality show?
Edith.
Okay.
Men in Kilts it's Jamie from Outlander and one of the other actors from Outlander, and they go all over Scotland.
Okay.
So since Chris is Scottish, we watched it. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And now we're getting ready to watch Men in Kilts season 2 in Australia.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, wow.
You sound so excited.
We are getting ready to
He
watch
liked it. It was good.
Oh, I deleted it by accident.
Whoops.
I had to free up some space.
Yeah. So you still have the TiVo, I guess.
TiVo, DVR. Have RCA Selectavision.
There you go. They're hooked up to the Betamax, of course, because you care about quality.
That was one of the things that Libby and I used to fight about.
Betamax or VHS?
No, when we had a TiVo, that she would record, I don't know, 15, 16 episodes of Oprah, and then I couldn't record my David Letterman. Because we only had, I think we had 40 hours on the TiVo. And I'm like, I need you to delete some of these Oprahs. Well, I haven't had time to watch them. Well, I need you to make time to watch them. And then she's like, oh, you need me to make, and so then, and it's like, Daddy wants to watch Letterman. Yeah. So I'm the one who paid for the TiVo.
Right.
This argument's not going anywhere.
Well, the fun thing about our house now is that everything is streaming except for the TV in the living room. There's no cable hooked up to it. But apparently the way it's set up, and I don't know who did this, and I don't want it to ever change, is whenever somebody's finished streaming, it goes to this default channel. I don't know where it comes from or why, but it always has Bob Ross. So there is randomly at any given moment, and no one turns that TV off. I don't think anyone knows how to turn that TV off. It is on 24/7. And at any given time, it's either our kids are watching somebody that's a streamer, like on YouTube or something, or Bob Ross.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a TV that you turn on and cable. You do everything through.
It's all through the internet. We don't have cable. Yeah.
Fire Stick or
no.
Roku or any of that stuff.
All of my TVs, we have Roku boxes, except for one at the in our office upstairs, and then I have an actual digital antenna hooked up to it. So I don't know why.
The only person in our family that watches anything on TV is my older son Andrew. Who watches game like sport. He's huge into sports.
Mm-hmm.
So we have YouTube TV basically for him. I told him that's your subscription because nobody else watches that.
Don't you yearn for the day when you just turn the TV on and it's there?
Yeah. I think you guys posted something about it. It is either on your Facebook page today or yesterday, but I had commented that I think it's hard to find a TV show that the whole family really can watch. It
Andy
seems.
Griffith?
Yeah, it was Family TV Day. I think it was Andy Griffith, Dick Van Dyke, all those debuted on the same day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well those days are gone. I mean, all the shows. I remember.
Breaking Bad.
But yeah.
Kids can't watch Breaking Bad.
No, because Mom comes over on Friday and we have movie pizza night. This is when marching band is going on. And almost every single Friday, almost everything on Netflix is either rated R or rated G. And it's either way too violent and with nudity and way too much language, or it's just a kid's show. And so trying to find something in the middle, because my oldest son is 19 and then my youngest son is 15. And, there's nothing that Cameron, my youngest one, hasn't already heard on the school bus. But still, it's just uncomfortable watching shows like that with your young kid.
You can watch Barbie. Boys like that.
I went to see Barbie.
Was it good?
It wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. It was entertaining. It was very well made, and there's a good message in it. It was pretty good.
Yeah, we talked about Oppenheimer on the show. I took he was then 15-year-old.
Yeah, he's 16
and
now,
he's 16 now. It's rated R. It's by, Christopher Nolan. I recommend at least looking at the Wikipedia page for Oppenheimer before going to see it for anybody with kids, because we went through this whole thing like, I don't know why it's rated R. I'm assuming it has something to do with nuclear bomb or maybe nightmares. No, apparently Oppenheimer got around.
Yeah.
And they showed, in my opinion,
they showed quite a bit of the round.
0.1 second of any bout of nudity when your kid is in the room is way too much. And they went way beyond that to where it got grossly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Chris saw it.
Janine didn't want to go. It was too long. And actually, I saw it in IMAX.
There you go. Well, so did we.
Yeah. So I walked out. I went, why are you people here so small? After the thing was over.
This portion of our show is brought to you by Whoppers All-Beef Footlong Hot Dogs. Hi, I'm Dave Lay. Fall is here, and that means three things. It's time to watch football. Women tuck their pants into their boots. And pumpkin spice is in absolutely everything. Well, I've been asked by the fine folks at Whoppers to assure you something. Whoppers will never put that nasty-ass pumpkin spice flavor into their hot dogs or their buns. It's a promise. Whompers are made from 100% pure beef with no fillers and no preservatives. Get a ruler and measure it yourself. If your hot dog isn't a foot long, they'll refund your money, guaranteed. Now, back to the show.
How has radio changed since when you started and what radio is now?
Well, when I started on a 1,000-watt radio station in Florence, South Carolina, which is actually true. I was a kid. I mean, I went on the air. They gave me a 30-minute show because I was hanging around the station, a small hometown. And I was 13, first time I went on the air. And
13?
1964. I'm playing the Beatles when they were new. Yeah, so I was on the air then and kind of worked up from there. I eventually went full-time while I was still in high school. And, of course, back then you had these big turntables, and we had like only 2 cart machines, in the studio, and reel-to-reels. And, of course, now everything is digital, and there's no turntables or even CD players to be found. So it's really changed quite a bit from that aspect, technical aspect.
Yeah, I started at UC at the campus station. It was closed circuit, so only 300 people on campus could hear it. And I'm sure that 2 were maybe listening that lived in Sandard Hall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started out at a small 500-watt daytimer, and same thing. You had your turntables. We had one of these old, what are they called? Tape masters?
Spotmasters?
Spotmaster where you put a cart in that looked like an 8-track for you kids.
Yeah.
Like an 8-track, and would have one commercial on it, the tape would go around. And we had 2 Spotmasters. One of them was broke. So when you were talking on the air, you'd have to scoot over while you were talking to be able to put take one commercial out and put it back in, because, you only had one Spotmaster. But yeah, then we went to cartridges, and now everything, of course, is done on computer. But one of the other things that's really changed is, when you go and do an outside appearance, we used to always take the Sprinter van and you put up what's called a Marty, your antenna, your sticks, broadcast back to the station, and they could record it. Well, now you just do it on your phone and email it in.
Just use your voice memo, and its quality is
great.
Usually better.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's really changed in that respect, too. Yeah.
Well, I went to East Tennessee State University in Johnson City, Tennessee, graduated with a degree in broadcasting, and I did a morning show on our radio channel, WETS. And just like Janeen, when you went, I mean, ain't nobody listening.
Right.
Seriously, I mean, you could yell out the window and get more people to hear you.
And you're so nervous, like everybody's listening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I learned how to cue up a record so that you can get cue burn on it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cue burn.
You put the needle on it and then go 1.5 rotations, and then you hit it, and then ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah.
There.
So you used to work at the oldies station too when you first started. Give me some famous celebrities that you worked with that either came into the studio.
When we worked at the Q in the 70s, I did 70s and 80s, and Janeen 79 through the 80s. I mean, a lot of people like Billy Joel. We had to go backstage, Billy Joel, Rod Stewart.
Okay.
Tina Turner,
yeah.
Huey Lewis.
Yeah, we interviewed a lot of those too.
John Mellencamp when he first started, or John Cougar.
Yeah.
Sammy Hagar came in.
Chicago. Chicago. I got a picture of Janeen hanging on Bobby Lamb in Chicago.
Rita Moreno, she came in.
Okay.
Yeah, I have all her records.
She's won the Grammy.
I know.
The Tony.
She's an EGOT.
She's done that.
Exactly.
Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony.
Right.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Who else have we met?
Either met or interviewed. Everybody. Peter Falk.
People.
That aren't always in music. Peter Falk we did, and we've interviewed. We had Lester Holt on, and Lester Holt. And who else do we have on? Jim Cantori. The weather guy.
The weather guy.
We also had Kenny Rogers and all these other members of KISS and everything.
Yeah. Leanne Morgan. You know her?
Yeah. I know Leanne Morgan. I don't know her personally. She doesn't return my calls.
Oh my gosh, she's so funny.
Yeah.
But so many different people over the years. We're very fortunate.
Kenny Rogers, when we interviewed him, and I can't remember why, but
he was on his bus. He called
us on his cell phone. Right there on the caller ID, it says Kenny Rogers. Tim Conway.
Tim Conway was in the studio.
I
Wow.
love Tim Conway.
Yeah.
He was actually in the studio because he was in town
Right.
appearing something
And
years ago.
at the Tap Theater, and
Yeah.
he was staying downtown. He walked to the radio
He
station.
walked to the station. This was before we were in Norwood.
Yeah,
We were
I went to that
downtown.
show. I went to see his Tim Conway and Harvey Korman at the Taft.
That was it. Yeah, with Harvey Korman.
Yeah.
I was the youngest person there by 40 years.
Wow.
And
So
I was
here's
I was kind of disappointed because I was like, everyone there was in their 70s plus. And
Yeah.
I was 30 something at the time, and I was really disappointed in my generation because it's like
Yeah.
you guys are really, really missing out on this. Because their comedy was absolutely timeless, and they didn't have a 70s plus act. It was amazing.
So when he came to the radio station, he actually called up. Remember, he called up to my cell phone to say that he
He was
was
there.
out in the hall.
Yeah.
His agent had asked for the cell phone or whatever.
Uh-huh.
So for years, I had Tim Conway's cell phone in my phone and tell him what would happen.
And she would butt dial Tim Conway. How many people called that one?
The time. All the time.
Mrs. Wiggins, is this you?
You butt dialed Tim Conway.
All the time.
It's going to be on her epitaph.
And I don't know why it landed on his phone number, but I'm like, oh.
Oh my God. A few months ago, I was in the kitchen. I was getting dinner ready, and I pulled out my phone, and not only this was like worse than butt dialing. Somehow, I had Facebook friended my son's marching band teacher.
Oh no!
I have no idea. I'm like, oh crap! And I deleted it. And then I thought, okay, well that's now he's like, how come Jacob's dad is unfriending me? He doesn't even know me.
You're listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome, Cincinnati's comedy podcast.
Ah, waka waka waka.
I had just started the station, and Chuck Berry was going to be like, what, an hour late?
It was 95.
Yeah. So I had to go up and tell
96.
everybody he was going to be late.
Yeah.
Okay.
So everybody could
Big
boo.
crowd.
I'm sure everybody appreciated that and were
yeah.
very warm
Same
and
thing.
Let
understanding.
Janine go out.
Yeah. Same thing when Al Green didn't show up to taste the blue ash. I was the one that had to go up and tell everybody.
He was good at smoothing things over. But real quick thing about Chuck Berry, when we had this is one of our oldies fests. When GRR started, we played mainly 50s and 60s. And of course, we moved up through the years. We stopped being oldies about 2006 or so. And Cincinnati's greatest hits is what we are now. But anyway, when we had Chuck Berry in for one of the oldies fest, he actually he rented a car and drove himself from the airport in Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky, to New Richmond, where we were having the outdoor oldies fest. And drove around back, popped open the trunk, got his guitar and coat out, put it on, went on stage, plugged in, started playing.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he left the same way. He rented himself as like a Ford, something.
Oh, and he had to be paid in cash.
And he had to be paid in cash, too. Chuck had to get his money in cash. And then leave, so.
I heard
Little
about
brown
that.
paper bag.
Yep.
Yeah. Tell me a story about meeting someone who was like way nicer than you would have imagined. Because I love hearing, it's like so often you hear about celebrities who were jerks and a lot
Way
wouldn't want to be.
nicer.
Yeah.
Well, even on the phone, I have to go with, Kenny Rogers.
Oh my gosh, he was so nice.
He's talking about Kenny Rogers roasters, the chicken and everything, just real down to earth. By and large, most people have been pretty,
Right.
pretty nice.
Davy Jones.
Davy Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
Had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times. In fact, he was in Greece at the Taft Theater, and I got to go on stage with him to warm up a crowd, which was
Okay.
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
William
90s, I guess.
William Shatner.
William Shatner, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. I got to, they showed, what was it, the Wrath of Khan or something? And,
Mm-hmm.
and then he had a question and answer afterwards at the
He
Taft
did
Theater.
it?
And I got
Oh, that's
to,
awesome.
Yeah.
Got to hang with him.
To MC that. Yeah, it was pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
So
Years.
you get to hang with William Shatner, but you go to Comic-Con, you got to pay $80 to get a picture with Linda Blair.
Exactly.
No.
Speaking of Davy Jones, when I worked at WGHL in Johnson City, the Monkees were coming to Fun Fest. It was a concert series that they had going on. And our meteorologist volunteered to go, and he was like losing his mind because he had to go and interview the Monkees.
Yeah.
And I ran down there and said, if anybody needs somebody to run camera, I'd be happy to do it. And they were like, couldn't believe it because they were so short on people. So I went and we interviewed Davy Jones, and he could not have been a nicer person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was just absolutely amazing. And then later on that night, Peter Tork was as cool as can be, laid back, pretty cool. And I asked him about, how long it took them to shoot the scene on Wings when he was auctioning off the Monkey Mobile. And he's like, you saw that? I said, yeah, it was on NBC. I mean, it wasn't like a weird documentary or something. It was on mainstream. But then Mickey Dolenz could not have been a bigger jerk. He was so
really,
yeah. He was just rude to every single person who walked by, and wasn't interested in talking, wasn't interested in smiling, and I never got to meet Mike Nesmith, and Mike Nesmith was my favorite monkey.
Oh
yeah. I wanted to meet Mike so bad.
He had a nice hat.
He did. He had the green wool hat.
Yeah.
I once followed KC of KC and the Sunshine Band. He was in front of me in the portalet.
Okay.
Not at the same time, but
okay. Yeah.
It was just coming out,
Oh God!
It's a very crowded place.
Toilet paper on his queue.
Like Smokey and the Bandit, Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Do you want to hear a story about somebody who was a total jerk?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, so I have two.
Okay.
So the first one was, remember Marsha Warfield from Night Court?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so when I worked at Q102 and was working in the afternoon, they brought her up for an interview. Of course, they didn't get her permission first and didn't tell her on her way to the airport. So she was already in a bad mood.
And like it's your fault.
When she came in, I started talking to her, and I had read this story about Richard Pryor, who, when he was a little boy, he was out in the front yard with his family, and he accidentally slipped in dog dew.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole family started laughing. He was like, oh, I kind of like this when people laugh when I'm funny,
Right.
Yeah.
And so I asked Marsha Warfield, I said, was there ever a moment, where you knew you were funny or liked being funny or liked the, accolades? She's like, well, I don't have any dog do stories.
Okay.
I mean, I have at least 3 dog do stories at any given moment.
Everybody got a dog do story.
Yeah.
Mike has the best dog do story.
Oh, we're going to go there.
Let's hear it.
It made it on Best of Volume 1 of this podcast.
So, how many years ago has this been? 2018. How many years? It's been 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, our dog, our beloved dog, Molly, affectionately named Beaky, I would take her on walks around the neighborhood, and she would poo, as they do.
As they
I
do.
put it in a plastic bag. And then I have to carry this plastic bag of poop around.
Yeah.
And it wasn't necessarily the weight of it. It was the warmth that bothered me. So I started, dropping it where it was. And then as we come back around, I pick it up and take it. I wouldn't leave it in somebody's yard. And then that evolved over the years of walking this dog till one of her final poos. I got really good at flinging them back into our yard. So she would always poop 3 or 4 houses down, and I'd zip it, and it would go in our yard. So I zipped it one morning, and it landed in the tree, in one of the branches of our tree in front of our house. And I just, you got to get a ladder to get those out.
Who has time for that?
Who's got time for that? So I'm like, I'll get it on the weekend, and the weekend came and it went. And fast forward, I think it was 7 months ago, it finally fell down.
It was in that tree for years.
5 years.
Yeah.
And it's still in our yard. It's become part of the ground underneath. I've mowed over it. It's there. And we've decided, my wife and I have decided, if we ever move from this house, we're going to put in the
fence around it.
Yeah, we're going to fence around it, and whoever buys the house has to leave that there.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good point there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we refer to walking our dogs and how they poo, as they will do, as you said. And we refer to it as the SWP, the swinging bag of poo.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite.
Everybody walks with a swinging bag of poo.
Yeah. So my favorite thing is I used to, way before that, I would walk her at night, and I had to stop walking her at night. I would walk around dinner time. She would walk by all these houses with their lights off, and she would go up to any house that had the lights on and the family's eating dinner. She would drag me up into their yard and squat, and she would stare at them, look them dead in the, whoever was unfortunate enough to look out, she would look them dead in the eye and drop it. And then I'm apologizing through the window like a psychopath out there. Put this in here and then zip it back to the house.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Drop it like it's hot.
Y'all sleep well.
This portion of our show is brought to you by vinyl. It's making a comeback, you know. Now, back to you guys in the studio.
Outside of radio, do you guys have any hobbies? Do you?
Sleeping is about it.
That's a good one. I've gotten really good at that one lately.
It's not really hobbies, but we do a lot of appearances and work for SPCA Cincinnati and
Okay.
Disabled American Veterans and
Yeah.
Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, stuff like that. But we like to travel. We enjoy traveling and that kind of thing.
I like
Yeah.
genealogy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she
Okay.
looks up my family tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't have any branches.
And this is why you do this, and this is why this is wrong with you.
That's right. She found out that I'm related in more recent times to Pretty Boy Floyd. I guess it explains a lot.
I don't know that I'd like the name Pretty Boy Floyd. I'd want something more gangster than that. Jack the Ripper. That's a good.
Yeah, you don't want Butt Ugly Eric, though.
No, you don't.
Pretty Boy Floyd is better than that.
No,
Strikes fear into your heart.
That's right.
exactly. But
Well,
no,
I like to bake. That's a hobby. I like to bake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, are you good at it?
No.
No.
Yeah.
Does Chris enjoy? Do you enjoy her baking, Chris?
She's not a slouch.
This is
You're
where
not
you
a
say
slouch.
yes, I do.
No.
You know
does
what?
good,
It
yeah.
usually tastes good. It just doesn't look good. Okay. Like I would never be a pastry chef.
It doesn't have to look good, and it's
Yeah,
not
it
like
really
you're gonna.
doesn't.
It's not like you're gonna
Because you
go
don't
on
eat it.
Nailed It.
Yeah.
Mm.
Have you ever watched Nailed It? That's where they bring just regular Joes like me and you on, and they compete to try to make these incredibly elaborate designed cakes. And they all just look like something that just recently got hit with a bat. It's just, I mean, but no, my wife is starting to wonder if I'm getting too many hobbies because I juggle, I play drums, I got the podcast.
This thing.
I do stand-up comedy every now and then.
Right.
And then recently I went and I took a wood turning class. And then my buddy Arnold has all the stuff in his basement, and I made this really pretty wooden bowl.
A pretty
Oh,
bowl.
I read that on your Facebook page.
Yeah. And it's like every time, someone comes to the house, it's like, we'd like to talk to you about the upcoming election. I'm like, I don't have time, but you want to see my bowl? So it's like the family, they're excited and they like the bowl, but they're wondering, is Daddy going to be doing this all the time now?
Right.
I mean, there's worse things you could be doing.
No, it's
Yeah,
true,
it's-
but
yeah.
maybe they think I'm just looking for excuses to not be around the family. Because maybe I'm getting too many hobbies.
Have you only made a bowl? Is that it so far?
Just the bowl, yeah.
Just a bowl. Okay.
Yeah, and I've got to put some stain on it. Then I've got to put it on a shelf and have a light that hits it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You should.
Decorated for
That's pretty
Christmas?
cool.
Yeah.
One of Chris's paintings back here.
the
What's
Christmas
one of
bowl.
my paintings?
I would like to see
sweet.
one of your
It's
paintings.
one of
Yeah,
those paint your dog.
Paint by
your
numbers?
animal
Oh,
class.
Yeah.
not like
This
paint
was
your
our
actual
Jack the
dog.
Bug here.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's
Pretty proud of
awesome.
that there,
that's
huh?
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the pug, right?
That was our puggy.
Yeah,
Passed away recently.
yeah. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
I know. He was a sweetie.
He was
Yeah,
15. So, yeah.
yeah. My Mike lost his Molly a year or so ago, and then 3 or 4 years ago we lost Conrad, our beagle, and he was a horrible dog. We loved him as much as you would love a good dog, though. I
Yeah.
mean,
Right.
he was sweet, but up until like the last week that we had him, he was getting in the trash.
Oh yeah.
He was stealing food from the kids.
Mhm.
And it was a couple of weeks before we had to put him down that he got out, and he would not come back to me.
Yeah.
He would just
Oh.
go like crazy. I'm like, we feed you. You've never slept outdoors, you stupid dog. Come home.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
Molly, the night pooper, was very,
The night
she was very independent.
Uh-huh.
She was, she would come over, she would hang out with you for a bit, and then she was like, okay, she was German Shepherd, so
Yeah.
I'm going to go over here in the hallway where I can see all the rooms at once and
Right.
start my shift. Back off. And that to me was how a dog acted. And now we have two smaller dogs, Marbles and Booba, also known as Dakota, but I call her Booba.
Yeah.
And they snuggle, and I'm not used to it. They'll get right up in your grill. And we have to contort all around. I'll wake up with one leg off the bed, the other one wrapped over here. My arms are hanging on the end table, and my back is killing me. And I've got to move dogs. And then they have the audacity to growl at me when I move. Not a mean growl, just like like, what do you mean? I was here. I'm the human. I own this bed.
I own the bed.
Yeah.
I own the house.
Yeah.
I own you.
Yeah.
No, my mom would like move if the dog was in the middle of the bed. She would just like go sleep on the couch or something. I'm like, no, the dog. You put the dog on the floor.
That's what Bess will let the dog. I mean, I'll wake up and the dog is on Bess's head, just there, and I need to I check her pulse, make sure she's still alive, and she's fine.
This portion of our show is brought to you by Diff Liquid Concentrated Wallpaper Stripper. With its unique enzyme action, Diff dissolves old paste and cuts wallpaper removal time in half. Hi, I'm Dave Lay. And back in my 20s, I made a pretty good living stripping wallpaper, and I always used Diff. I remember thinking that I could use an inferior product, take twice the time, and make more money. But honesty runs deep in my blood, and I'm brand loyal. I stand by Diff until the end of time. Diff, the only one that really works.
That's right.
Back to you, Mike and Darin.
There was a topic that I wanted to bring up with Mike last week, and we were supposed to record last week, and we actually had a lot of technical difficulties before we started this episode. Last episode, we didn't even do, because
and it's been one of our most popular streams of all time. We had more people watching that train wreck than anything else.
So my mom got COVID. She's much better now. Okay, so she got COVID, and we found out that she got it the day that we had went to a marching band competition. So me, Libby, and Jacob had been around her all day, and then the doctor said that if you're not experiencing any symptoms, you probably don't need to get tested, and none of us had a sniffle, a cough, nothing. But to be safe anyway, Mike and I were going to record an episode him in his basement, me in my basement, and we could not do it. We just couldn't do it. But one of the things I was going to talk to Mike about, and maybe this is, I don't know where you guys live. I keep trying to follow you home and you keep losing me. Is all around the Cincinnati area, they're building these roundabouts like we're in England or something. It's like, I don't understand what the big deal was with stoplights. Because, sometimes you would stop at a red light and you'd have to wait for a little bit. But there's this one roundabout right in front of the 9th grade school. And if you get there at the right time, you're sitting there forever because you don't have to stop at a roundabout.
Yeah, Janeen's not a big fan.
I don't like them.
Roundabouts at all.
Like there's at least one or two on Butler Warren Road.
Yeah.
And don't
zero in. You'll tell him where we live.
If you're coming up to it and people are coming around, you're right. You sit there forever.
Yeah.
You sit there forever. What was wrong with a 4-way stop?
I don't know. I mean, but then there's always like, well, people don't know what to do at a 4-way stop. Well, people don't know what to do at a roundabout.
Yeah.
Who doesn't know what to do at a 4-way stop?
A lot of all the other three people.
And every time.
And everybody...
Whoever gets there first goes first.
Yeah. So the cool thing about a roundabout is you just go.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the rule is, you just go. Right? I just go.
Just go right over the middle like Janeen does.
People get upset.
Jump it like the Dukes of Hazzard.
People get upset when you go left, but they get over it.
You can't go
left
on a roundabout.
It's the easiest way to get over there.
If
I need to go over there, I'm going to go over there.
Why pass all those other exits when you can just go left? Yeah.
Have you seen the roundabout? It's as you go into Old Montgomery, 275 and Montgomery Road.
Yes.
Oh, right off the Ronald Reagan.
Horrible.
County.
Horrible.
A lot of folks there.
Yeah.
Have you also seen?
There are kids that have been born on that roundabout.
Yeah.
They're going around. And...
Have you seen the roundabout in pictures in Paris, France, at the Arc de Triomphe?
Yeah. Whenever I get on the roundabout, I look in the back seat and say, "Hey, kids, Big Ben, Parliament." They don't get it. Before we wrap this up, I know you got to get to bed. You got the early show in the morning. I just wanted to mention a couple years ago, they were kind enough. They had me on one of their Christmas shows, and I got to deliver my Christmas stand-up comedy routine. And honest to God, I have never felt more alive than when I was on your show that morning. I had so much fun. It was great. And Angie gave me a ding dong, and it was just fantastic.
That's right.
And I loved everything about it. And I wanted to have you guys on the show. I wanted to repay the favor, and I wanted to say that I love hearing you in the morning. Now I don't commute. I work from home now, but whenever I do commute, whenever I'm driving the kids,
he turns it on in the walk down the hallway. He turns you on the phone. And comes in.
On days when Libby's also working from home, I tell her, I said, I'll give you a call when I get to work, and I go downstairs and I give her a call.
I'm okay.
But yeah, no, it was great being on your show. Wanted to tell everybody listening, you got to tune in next week because Mike is like the biggest U2 fan there is.
Ridiculous.
And now I'm also a very big U2 fan. I'm nowhere to the extent of Mike.
I was banned from mentioning them on the show for about 50 episodes because they always came up.
Yeah. Mike is going to Vegas. Okay. Mike is going to Vegas. He is going to see
in 2 days, Friday,
the Sphere. He is going to the Sphere.
The
big giant bubble. And so we're going to have Mike's full review of that concert. Now, while Mike is in Vegas, I have been invited to New York because I am a giant David Letterman fan. And there's a gentleman who's been on our show a couple of times, Mike Chisholm with the Letterman podcast, and Rupert G., the owner-operator of the Hello Deli.
Right.
He is retiring. He's sold the deli. The people, the kind folks at Worldwide Pants and the Late Show with David Letterman have invited me to come to this party. I am on the list. And Libby and I are going. And so we're going to be going. We're going to be rubbing elbows with Paul Schaefer and with the writers of the David Letterman shows and with Rupert G. So next week, you're going to hear Mike's review of Vegas and my review of New York City. It's going to be sick.
So before we go, can I point out something that's very odd to me? It's interesting.
Yeah.
Is your favorite thing on the planet is David Letterman. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing is U2. Mm-hmm. And then Letterman and U2 did the interview together.
They did the Disney Plus special.
That's weird. We have to watch that.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing stream. Mm-hmm. What you see is me and Darin in a little square, just like this.
We didn't
just staring at the TV.
We didn't talk over it.
We didn't talk over it.
We wanted to hear what they were saying.
And then now
we didn't
on the
think that through.
Yeah. And now on the same weekend, you're going to like this huge Letterman thing, and I'm going to the Sphere.
It's really wild.
Stuff keeps happening.
I know.
Pretty cool.
I know.
Does David Letterman still have that big beard?
He's got the big beard.
Yeah.
Big Santa Claus.
Yeah,
beard?
crystal meth Santa Claus.
Okay.
Yeah, from
that's not nice.
Was that the Zach Galifianakis thing?
Yeah. Now, if people not in the Cincinnati area, we have a lot of listeners outside of the Cincinnati area. If they wanted to listen to you online, how do they do that?
You can go to WGRR.com. We stream live there, and we have our own app, too. All you do is go to your app store and type in WGRR. It'll come up, and you can hear us that way.
That's awesome.
We're in the known universe.
Fantastic.
And you can ask Alexa, hey, Alexa, play 103.5 WGRR.
Oh, there it goes. Now it's playing.
Have a great day and stay cool.
You know, you guys have been on for a long time, and you have very good chemistry together. And it's a good show, and I do enjoy listening to it. I really enjoy the two of you. I like the banter, and I don't think you guys sound fake at all. I really don't, because there are some DJs that just sound like they're just completely phoning it in, but you guys are the real deal. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your friendship, and thank you for coming on the show. I really can't say thank you enough.
So welcome.
Yeah. The nicest compliment we get is people say, "You sound just like us."
Yeah.
Me and my husband, me and my wife, whatever. So. Yeah, we appreciate that. Thanks for the nice words.
Well, good deal. Well, thank you for coming. And guys, if you enjoy the podcast, go to irritabledadsyndrome.com and they can download every single episode.
Even if you don't enjoy it, just hate listen to us.
Do it.
That's
right.
I'll show them.
That's right.
Just download every episode and then throw them away.
Yeah, grab the phone of somebody you don't like and put all of our episodes on it multiple times.
We're also on YouTube.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you enjoy the podcast, if you ever decide that you want to help us out a little bit, you can go to Patreon and you can send us a couple dollars. And it'll help us keep the lights on. And I'm required by law to say that. So there you go. Chris, Janeen, thank you again. Everybody, thank you for listening to Irritable Dad Syndrome, and we will see you next time.
Irritable Dad Syndrome is a Mike Odell, Darin Cox production.
Good morning.
What's going on, Darin?
Good morning. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much.
Angie Ira gave me a ding dong before we came in. So my day's already getting off on the right foot.
Hearty handshake and a ding dong.
I know, right?
You know, you do a lot of shows around town with Michael Flannery, which is really cool.
Who?
Michael Flannery.
Oh, right. I don't mean to brag, but we were here almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Michael Flannery and I were promoting an event.
Yeah.
And he gave me my professional comedy debut.
Yeah.
It was the first time I got paid to do comedy, and since then, I've been paid over $300 doing stand-up comedy.
Get out of here.
I know.
Well, we appreciate you taking time to be with us lowlifes today.
Well, we set the bar really low here. I know that the first time you were in here with Michael, you were really super nervous.
I had a lot of performance anxiety. You know, when you follow a huge act, you know, you want to do well, and I had to go on after the dancing trucker.
Well, that's right, yeah.
I mean, he dances, he drives a truck.
That's
perfect,
right.
The perfect act for the radio.
Yes.
Sorry to put you in that position.
So, I mean, what do? You just do the best you can. You do the best you can.
So you excited about Christmas?
I'm hoping that this Christmas goes better than last Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Last year, my wife, God love her, she bought me a gift, and she said, "Honey, this is your Christmas present and your birthday present," and this makes me so mad because my birthday's in June. I've got a calendar. I was looking through the days, and it's as far away from Christmas as you can get. I'm like, honey, the combination gift doesn't work like that. And then, you know, June rolls around. She starts nagging at me. How come you never wear that sweater I got you for your birthday? I feel like I can't win as a husband.
No, you cannot.
Chris, can you ever win as a husband?
Are you kidding?
I can't win. And we've been married for 17 years, and I've gone through so many changes since I got married. When I was single, I used to keep my remote control for the TV on the coffee table.
Yes.
Now that I'm married, I keep it in a basket on the coffee table.
On the coffee table.
Yeah, I had to stop living like some kind of animal.
Yeah, that's a shame, isn't it?
I know.
Darin Cox is with us here on the Holiday Drop-In Show. Have you gotten a gift for that most important person?
I still need to get a gift from my mom.
Your mom.
That's the important person.
My mom. She's not very tech savvy.
Yeah.
She calls me up the other day and she says, honey, what channel is Netflix on? and I'm like, Mom, it's not a channel. It's a streaming service. You subscribe and pay a monthly fee. She says, I know how it works, Darin. I just want to know what channel it's on. A friend of hers told her that Seinfeld has a new show. She wants to know what day it comes on, what time it comes on. And I just gave up. I said, Tuesdays at 9. Check your TV guide because she lives in Tennessee. It's a different channel there than it is here.
Oh man,
what do? You know?
Oh my gosh. So, do you have a favorite Christmas song, Darin?
You know, some of the you guys play a lot of Christmas songs, and some of the older songs have I love Most Wonderful Time of the Year.
Yes,
but Andy Williams says there'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories of Christmases long, long ago.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, who tells scary ghost stories at Christmas? Hey, kids, gather around the tree. Mom's going to make some cookies. So I'm going to tell you about a family of 4 who vanished in our very home, and their spirits are still alive. You know, it's like, Christmas Eve, they're in bed. They can't sleep. Parents think they're excited about Santa coming. They're afraid they're going to die. And then, Burl Ives sings Holly Jolly Christmas.
Right.
And he says, somebody waits for you, kiss her once for me. Like, kiss your own girlfriend. I'm not going to go home and kiss my wife and look at her and go, you like that? Yeah, that one's from Burl Ives.
Burl, yes.
Yeah.
Burl was around way before the Me Too movement.
I know. Do you like my current music references?
Yes, I do.
I stay current. I'm right on top of today's music, today's hits.
Yes,
Andy Williams,
you are.
Burl Ives.
Burl Ives.